I'm Dr. Baxter Bell for 101 years. Heel pain is hard to heal. Sorry about that double entendre, but it's really true. The heel, once it becomes angry and inflamed, is one of the hardest parts of the body to get to quiet down. And in fact, if heel pain persists long enough, it often becomes something known as heel spurs, or the technical term is plantar fasciitis. The plantar fascia is a thick band of connective tissue that stretches from the heel bone to the base of your toes. And it acts a little bit like a trampoline for the bottom of your foot. It supports the arches of the foot and allows the foot to have a springy quality to it. But when that fascia gets irritated or inflamed, it can become very uncomfortable. For those of you out there who suffer from heel pain already, you may notice that getting out of bed first thing in the morning or getting up after you've been sitting at your desk for an hour or two is often very uncomfortable, those first steps that you take. And so I would actually urge you to maybe take a moment when you first wake up in bed or when you're at work to maybe pause and do some of the little movements that I'm going to share with you today. And these actions might allow you to release some of the tension and discomfort from your feet so that those first steps that you take will be less painful. And I think it's important for you to know that Western medicine does have things to offer for this, but nothing has been shown to be super effective. They have injections and inserts to put in shoes and even really extreme surgeries that sometimes are performed. But if we can get the body to heal on its own, which yoga is very helpful at doing, then we can go a long ways to avoid some of those more extreme forms of treatment. So with that in mind, I'd like to show you a few things that you can do. And you'll notice that everything we're going to do in this particular segment is going to be done with very little pressure on the feet at all. And this is really to give that angry tissue a chance to rest. So you'll need a blanket. It can be an old ratty blanket like the one I'm using here. You can use some sort of a strap. I'm using a necktie. And although I have a modern sticky mat, you can also work on a carpet or any surface that's comfortable for your body. If you have an old exercise pad or something, that would be fine too, or even a towel. When I was studying in India, we actually had little squares of woven carpet that we practiced on, and you know what? They worked just fine. So don't stress yourself out buying a bunch of props. Find things around the house that you can use easily. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come off my homemade block made with a book and some duct tape. And I'm going to set that off to the side because I will use that a little bit later. And I'm going to stretch my legs out in front of me, and I'm going to lean back comfortably so I'm not straining my lower back, and my legs are out in front of my body. And the first thing I want you to do is just to mobilize your toes a little bit by wiggling the toes of both feet. And as you look at your toes, notice if any of the toes are not moving very much. If you've got any little lollygaggers down there, and just encourage those little lazy toes to move a little more vigorously. And then draw the balls of the feet back and spread the toes wide. And then press the balls of the feet forward and curl the toes gently. Draw the balls of the feet back, spreading the toes wide, and press the ball of the foot forward, curling the toes. You can do this with your breath. You can inhale as you draw back, and you can exhale as you press forward. Inhale as you draw back, exhale as you press forward. And again, wiggle the toes a little bit. The other thing I like to do with the feet and the ankles is to do some movement. So I'm going to circle both feet around in the same direction a few times. Just kind of trying to be as smooth as I can, noticing that sometimes one foot is more mobile than the other, and then go the other direction a few times. If you can pair that with a nice breath rhythm, it's even more healing for the body. So think about how to connect your breath to the movement, and then move them in opposite directions. And as you're doing this, you'll notice that not only are your feet and your ankles getting some mobility, but your knees and your thighs and your hips are getting some movement too. Go the other way with the feet, circling in the opposite direction. So that whole little series of things is really lovely for the feet. Now, we're going to bend the knees. You can just keep your blanket where it is. It's fine to have that there. We're going to bend the knees and roll down onto our backs. And we're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee. So again, the foot is in the air, and there's no weight being borne on it. And then I just want you to do some more circles with the ankles here. So when we move the feet around and there's no weight on the foot, we're allowing the tissues to move and the muscles to contract, but we're not putting the force of gravity right into that very tender, sensitive spot at the base of the heel. And then circle in the opposite direction a few times.
So this is the thread, the needle, shape of the legs, and of course, if you wanted to get into the hips and such, you could go into the other variations that we sometimes do. But today I just want you to mobilize the ankle. And then bring the foot down, cross the left foot over the right knee, and do the same thing on the other side, circling a few times in one direction, and then circling in the other direction. Good, and then bring the foot down to the floor. Grab your strap, have it in your hand. Now today we're going to place the strap in a very particular spot. We're going to bring the knee into the chest. We're going to put the strap on the ball of the foot, not on the arch, not on the heel, but on the ball of the foot. And then we're going to take the leg up into the air, and we're going to stretch the leg as straight as we can. The bottom leg can stay bent today. If you need to bring the leg a little forward for your hamstrings, do that. Otherwise, a little more vertical. And then you're going to pull down very firmly on the strap. And this is going to stretch the calf more actively. At the same time, I'm going to push the heel up so I get a little stretch on the bottom of the foot and the back of the calf. And I'm going to keep my breath flowing very nicely for just a couple nice breaths. After you've been there for maybe 5 or 6 breaths, you'll press the ball of the foot up for a moment and then keep it pressing up and pull down with the strap. So now the foot is at a 45-degree angle with the floor. This would be kind of parallel with the floor, 45-degree angle, and that's going to bring some strength to the foot. And then release that, come down, and then repeat it on the second side. Strap on the ball of the foot. On the ball of the foot, take it up, pull down, press up with the heel, about 6 breaths, and then push up with the ball of the foot, and do that for about 6 breaths. Once you've done that, you've got both some stretch and strengthening happening, then release the leg down, let your foot come to the floor, and let your body rest for a moment. To come up, roll to your side, and come up to sitting. So in that last one, I want you to make sure that you got the strap on the ball of the foot, and that you both pull down for a few breaths and then push up for a few breaths, okay? So keep that in mind. The last thing I want you to do is just get those legs up in the air so the feet are completely relaxed. So you'll need your block for this. So I'm going to bring that back into position. Then I'm going to lift my hips up onto the block. I'm going to lower my chest down to the floor. I'm going to tip my knees in, and I'm going to take both legs up into the air. Now if this is a lot of work for you in the front thighs, you can take your strap and you can bring it behind your legs, and once it's behind the legs, you can just use your arms to help hold the legs up in the air. So either legs floating or supporting with the strap, and then just let the feet float above your body for a few moments. And even a minute here would be awesome for the body. So letting those legs dangle in the air, letting gravity draw any inflammation back towards the hips. So legs in the air helps to deliver any angry tissue and fluid from the body back towards the lymphatic channels and back into the circulation. And when you've done that for maybe a minute or so, bring the feet down, lift your hips up, pull your block out, and then roll to the side and come up to sitting. So there's a series of things that you can do if you've got angry heels. I hope you find them helpful. You can always finish this practice by clicking on the relaxation breath on your app. Thanks for joining me today. Namaste.